holy cow. I don't know if you've missed me or not. Maybe you haven't, but I have not been here in a little while. I have not done any new episodes since January. And today is the day that is going to change, because I know that moms out there, kids out there, we need digital guidance, digital roadmaps, digital safety. And so that's what my podcast is all about. And so I'm relaunching this today. We are getting back into things, and I am back. Stay tuned.
Welcome to your source for tips, tools, and support to help you be that mom that is tuned in and proactive for yourself, your family, and for the wild ride of raising kids in this digital age. Inspired by a mother's love with a relatable, real-life, proud to be that mom flair. This is the Be That Mom movement with your host, Dolly Denson.
Okay, it has been a minute since I have done any episodes, and I have a reason for that, and I'm going to explain a little bit of that for you so you can understand where I have been and some of the lessons and all of that. And then I'm going to talk today just briefly about where I'm going with the podcast so you'll know what is up and what's next. So, first off, I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up that yes, I am still very much a promoter of the dumb smartphones that I mention over and over again, and I am very much a fan of Bark still. They are all doing really well and helping kids and families so much. So if you are in need of some way to set up some boundaries for your kiddo and know what's going on, of course, I recommend Bark to help with that. Top-notch, best option out there. If you're not in the United States and don't have that option, I do have some other things listed on my website and in the show notes. And then, of course, the dumb smartphones that are available all have perks to them, and it just depends on which one you prefer. The TrueMe phone is one that I did an episode on, I believe it was toward the end of December, beginning of January, where I interviewed the CEO or the co-founder of TrueMe. And then there's the Pinwheel phone and the Gab phone, and they all have features and options that are awesome and great, and definitely a step up from giving our kiddos access to the entire world through a unmonitored smartphone. So still highly recommend all of those things. I also have my Be That Mom Method course on the brink of coming out, but I need to make a few tweaks. I was going through it last night, and because I have had a delay with life getting in the way majorly over the last year, there's a few things I just need to update, and I want to make sure it is the most relevant thing that you can follow, because it absolutely is made from my heart and is exactly what I wish I would have had back when I was I know I need to be doing something, but I don't know what. This is what this is going to be for you. It is a roadmap. It has tools. It has resources. It is going to be a gift to you, just like all of these other things that I mentioned on my podcast and give you discount codes for. This is going to help you with navigating the things, help you with redirecting and pivoting when you need to, and all of that. So stay tuned for that. I promise it will come to life. I just, I've said it before that when you have something amazing you're trying to do, some change you're trying to make, something you're trying to put out into the world that is going to make such an impact, it is no doubt that life and obstacles are going to get in the way to try to stop that from happening. And that's my belief as to what keeps getting in the way to where I can't get that launched. But I promise you it is coming, and it's going to be amazing. So stay tuned for it and share it with your friends as well, because it definitely is something that I have made and put so much work into to make sure it's exactly what you need when you give your kiddos phones and all of the things, okay? So, that being said, I want to go back for a second. I want to explain a few things that have happened in the last year that kind of got in the way of doing my podcast episodes and staying on my mission for helping you with all of the digital things, and give you a bit of background on that. Also, how those things have been somewhat of gifts to help me now, and then where we're going with the podcast, a few episodes I have coming up, and all of that. Okay, so thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in. My podcast has still been ranking high in a couple of different countries, and a couple of the episodes are off the charts with listens. So I know you're out there. I know you're listening. I know you need this stuff. And when I kept seeing that pop up in my email, that it was ranking high, that certain episodes were getting a lot of listens, I was just like, oh, holy cow, I need to get this going again. But the truth is that this is what I always say, like in my Fit Club and with the girls that I help with health coaching, with fitness and nutrition stuff, is a body in motion stays in motion, a body at rest stays at rest. And that is so true when it comes to something like this. I have tried to record this I'm Back episode multiple times, kept having things get in the way. The last time I came and sat down and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I could not find the adapter thing that I need to go from my microphone and my headphones to my laptop. And I looked everywhere, and it was like I only had this little bit of time to get this done, and my window of time closed because I couldn't find the darn adapter. It turns out it was laying on my desk, but my desk is a complete mess, and so it was covered up by some papers, and it took me like a month after that to find it, after I'd already ordered a new one. So anyways, I have tried to record it, but I will say that life got really, really hard for me in 2021 and coming into 2022. And it's one of those things that when everything was still moving and going, I could somehow put some of the hard parts of that to the side. Sorry, I have dinging going on here. To the side and not really deal with them, not face them head on. I need to turn off my notifications here so you're not hearing my dinging. And I can't figure out how to do that here. So anyways, I want to tell you a couple things that happened for 2021. So, I launched my podcast in March of 2020. I had weekly episodes from March of 2020 all the way to the first week of January of this year. I was going on 2 years straight of weekly episodes, very passionate, very focused. But in 2021, life took a turn for me in a couple of ways. One was in my background as a nurse practitioner, I started noticing patterns of health conditions in people that got the thing that's being pushed around the world, pushed on everyone with the claims of safe and effective. If you do not see the reality of the thing that's happening with that for some people, I know while it could in overall be rare in the number of people that have gotten the thing compared to the number that are having adverse effects, if you have not seen that from your vantage point, I plead with you to try to open up your heart and your mind to the fact that maybe your vantage point hasn't given you this observation. But for me personally, I have observed heart-wrenching and very concerning observations. I don't know if I just said that redundantly, but I worked with a population of people who were older, typically like in their 50s up until their 90s. And they were the age group that was pushed to get it from the very beginning. Yes, go get it. You're going to be able to get your life back. Go out there and get it. You need to get it right away so you can be safe and you can save your life. Well, what I started to see in this age group was a pattern of certain things happening, all kind of subtle. Well, not all subtle. Some people had strokes, heart attacks, developed AFib. One lady had 3 brothers all die of heart attacks within a week of getting their second thing. And so there were more dramatic ones that didn't seem as deniable, but other things more subtle, memory issues, a weird anemia that kind of has the same pattern regardless of who the person is and how it develops and what things they do and to detect it and figure out what the cause is, can't find a cause, put them on iron, that type of thing. So I started seeing these patterns of different things at the same time that I was not getting the thing at first because I had just had COVID. I am someone who comes from a background of vaccinating all of my children. I got a flu shot every single year. I had no reason to distrust the whole agenda of everybody getting a vaccine because it's what we do and it's to keep the world safe. But I could not deny what was happening and what I was seeing in this population of 100% getting the thing. And this did not align with what I was supposed to do with my job. And therefore, one of the things that happened in 2021 is that I was terminated from my job because I would not get the thing that I'm seeing a bunch of people harmed from. And I apologize if that is disconcerting to you, if you are of the mindset that it is safe and effective for everyone and that we have nothing to be concerned about. Maybe that people like me that don't want to get it are selfish or ignorant or anything like that. But I assure you, where I come from is a place of examining all sides. And I did not want to be in this place. I did not want to lose a job I had had for 8 years and was the best company I ever worked for. But I could not deny what I was seeing and the people that are being harmed by it. So I ask, if you are of the mindset that I'm in the wrong, I ask for you to give a little bit of grace, give a little bit of understanding, take a step back and try to understand that someone else might see it differently because they have a different vantage point. I've had friends and family deny my vantage point. I've had friends and family block me, unfriend me, completely vanish from anything that I can connect with them on because they don't understand my vantage point. But let me tell you, it's the most hurtful thing in the world to have worked in this industry for as long as I have and to suddenly see things differently because I wasn't afraid to ask questions, because I wasn't afraid to say, what in the world? Why are so many people coming up with these same issues? Why is this same pattern happening over and over again? Why is it that I go to work and it's like Groundhog Day when they tell me about a weird anemia that started, and it started a couple weeks after the second thing that they got, and that they can't find anything? You know, it was the same scenario over and over again. I don't know how other nurse practitioners and clinicians out there are not seeing this or not speaking up. I don't know how that is possible because it's blatantly obvious to me. And so if you are of the mindset that you do not understand this, I just ask that you try to dig into your heart and your mind and open it a little bit. And let's get back to the place of collaboration, of conversation, and of realizing that we as one person in this world may not know everything. And unless we are in the same position as the person that has that viewpoint, we do not get to have an authoritative stance on what they're saying. I hope that makes sense. This episode has been something that I have gone over and over in my mind, whether or not I would share this part of it. But it is me, and it is a part of what has happened over the past year. And I, as a healthcare provider, cannot stand here and say that these things are safe and effective 100%. There's too many unknowns, and there are too many reasons for us to be concerned, for me to say blanket, this is what it is, okay? So that is one thing that happened over the past year, is that I was terminated from my job for making observations, for being a healthcare provider with due diligence, and with wanting to simply decide for myself what was best for me. And all of that being said, the majority of the people that I have seen that are getting the thing, not the pokey thing, but the infection, are the ones that have had the pokey thing. And so it is just undeniable to me that I don't know what the agenda is here, but it's certainly not the ones that we were used to before 2020, when we actually did things for the sake of the patient. The decision was always theirs. We gave them informed consent. And at the end of the day, whether they denied the treatment or accepted it, it was still their decision. I don't know how we got to a point to where that is not okay, but that's where I still am, because I was trained in evidence, I was trained in due diligence, and I was trained in informed consent. So I think that's all I'm going to say in regard to that. The next thing I want to share is that I told you back in August that my brother had suddenly and tragically died. My little brother, I have two brothers, and we've come to put some pieces together to where it appears that his death may have been intentional, that it may have been suicide. There's no way for us to know 100% without a doubt, but just putting the pieces together of how everything played out, that's what me and my siblings believe happened. And so my point of sharing all of this with you is because in December, things really came to a head for me when we realized that, along with being terminated from my job. And it's kind of like one of those things where when you have a sense of safety, when you have security and safety, even when things are kind of difficult, you can keep going. And it was in that time where I really felt like the bottom fell out of my life and everything just really seemed really hard and a lot to deal with. And so what I did at that time was I decided to take a couple of weeks away from the podcast and from the other things that I did. I took a trip to Alaska, and my sister lives in Alaska. And so I went to visit her in the wintertime. I'd never been to Alaska in the winter. So it was just, something that I wanted to do and just to take some time away. And I took that time, and it was the most amazing trip. Just spending time with her. I was only there for 5 days. It wasn't long enough at all for the amount of travel time it took to get from where I live to where she is. But we had the most amazing experience together. We felt the presence of our brother there with us. And like I've told you in regards to my podcast and how it all came to be, I think that there's gifts in life's struggles and life's challenges, in life's obstacles. And I have found so many gifts in this struggle. And that is why I wanted to share the real and the raw of what has happened for me and why I've been absent, is because I know that every single one of you that has a child, that you are contemplating or have given a smartphone, a digital device, some kind of contact digitally, and you've noticed that there's an influence and you're trying to figure out how to navigate it, and there's so much gray space, there's so much I don't know what to do, I don't want to be the mean mom, the bad mom, that mom. I want them to be happy, I want them to be able to do things, they're always mad at me, all of those things. It's hard. It's hard right in that space. It's hard. And my kids now are 17, 19, and 23. I've walked this space, and I was of the generation of parents that it all emerged while my kids were in those middle school years, and the impact was astronomical. And so the reason that I share this is because I walked all of that, but I found a gift in it. I found the gift in it that I could pay it forward to you on this platform. And so I share about my path in 2021, seeing what I did in the clinical world, along with the loss of my brother, who we had no idea he was struggling. And so this is going to be a topic of some of a podcast going forward. And it's definitely going to be something I'm going to dive deeper into, because I think this is the gift in what we have gone through, is that we had no idea he was struggling. And it's taken a lot to face that he could take his life and that we didn't know. And so I want you to know that there's gifts in your struggle, and there's also whispers or God winks that are giving you hints of what to do next. You are here listening to this because it is not an accident, and because there's an intuition, there's a nagging in you that is saying you need to do more, that you need to offer more guidance. And I want you to know that me talking about such a raw thing of losing my brother and us not knowing, and I'm sorry for the sniffling and all of the noises in this episode, but us not knowing that he was going through the struggles he was, I want to use that pain to help you to talk to your children. Right now, we are going through such a hard period in this world, no matter where you are. The censorship is unreal out there. The influence, the things that are being pushed on us, the mindset, what's true, what's not, what we're supposed to believe, what we're not supposed to believe, what things are put out to divide us. This is intentional. I think it's an attack on our children. And so I want you, if you take anything from this episode today, is to talk to your children, like point blank. Let them know how much they're loved. Let them know that no matter how hard something seems or how deep they feel like they are into something, that you are always their safe place to land. And that no matter what, they are valued and they will be missed. We miss Tony so much. And he had a son that he left behind. And it's so hard for us to fathom how he could have been struggling so very hard that he could leave him by choice. But I know when someone gets in that dark space, in that place, that sometimes they feel like the world would be better off if they're not here, or the struggles seem too hard. So please, if anything from this episode, I want you to take this opportunity to talk to your children. Talk to them about the things that are hard right now. Talk to them about the things that are bothering them. Talk about the things that are being pushed on them in their beliefs. And then make sure you are keeping some type of monitoring on what they are consuming. If they are on TikTok, if they are on Instagram, if they are on Snapchat, and you are not in some way monitoring what they are consuming there, I promise you they're being influenced and they are being, pushed into certain mindsets, certain beliefs, conditioning that certain things are okay. And that may not be exactly what you want them to be believing and moving towards. So that was my major mission for this episode, and it's been really hard for me to sit down and record this. And I know I may have turned some people off, and I know this is all stuff that is really controversial. But everything that I share and everything that I do is, the point of it is to share the gift in it. And if I can help at least one person to not be in that dark space, then that has helped me in finding some purpose in the pain around all of we have been through with the loss of my brother. And like I said, we can't say for certain 100% that it was not an accident, but everything points to the fact that it was not an accident. And so I hope if my brother is listening and I have this wrong, that somehow he will let us know that it was an accident. But like I said, it doesn't seem like that was the case. So thank you so much for listening today. I don't even know if I hit all of my points on my little outline that I had made before I started recording, but I feel like what I shared is what I wanted to share. And so I hope it helps you. Talk to your kids and please have some guidance around the digital things. My roadmap is coming, the course that I'm making. And then the other things that I have coming up are, I have a couple interviews lined up that are going to be topics such as like helping kids with college debt and how to have a plan around that. Someone else reached out to me that talks a lot about self-esteem for girls. And then my best friend, she has twins and she is trying out the Pinwheel phone and the Trumi phone with her twins. Each has a different phone so that she can compare all the aspects of that. And I may even bring her girls on an episode so they can share their perspective of using the dumb smartphone and how it's helped them, their frustrations around it, those type of things. So those are a few things that I have coming up. I hope you will continue to listen. And if you have any questions about anything I've shared today, please reach out to me. And I hope that there's an understanding there. If you aren't understanding my viewpoint, if you could open your mind and your heart for that, because it's hard for me to share this because I know how much I've been kind of gaslighted. I don't know if that's the right word, but there have been quite a few people who don't understand my viewpoint. And it's so hurtful for me when a lot of them don't work in any type of healthcare, how they can't consider my viewpoint. I don't make things up, and I was never an anti-vaxxer or anything like that before this all started. I'm still not. It's still up to you, but I make the personal decision for myself, and I don't think I owe anyone an explanation of that and shouldn't be forced to get something that I know is not effective, that has tons of unknowns and all of that. Okay, so thanks so much for listening. Chat with you next time.
Thanks for tuning in. Being that mom isn't easy, but together we can be that mom strong. Don't forget to leave a review, connect on social, and join Dolly's free community. Till next time.